Okay, let's drop some truth bombs. Number one, is the new Ghostbusters movie any good? It's a solid B summer popcorn movie. Yes, at some points, it is totally as lame as the trailers and clips have made it look. But at other points, it's laugh out loud funny, genuinely scary, and it has a lot of heart. Number two, will it silence the haters? Most of them, I think it will. Now, some haters are going to be personally offended by the choice of villain, but for everyone else, the movie is so harmless and so middle of the road, there simply isn't anything to hate. Number three, is the movie overwhelmed by girl power? I don't think it is, but there definitely is girl power at play. And I honestly feel that female moviegoers and men who have daughters, sisters, or care about how women are represented in film will probably give the movie a B plus, A minus, as I personally do. Because towards the end of the film, there's this hero moment, which I'll discuss in my spoiler review, that made the movie very special for me. And for that, I am very grateful to Paul Feig. But finally, truth bomb number four. That being said, I wouldn't hire him to direct and or write, probably to produce the sequel that the after credit scene sets up, because there are problems with the movie. Very clear, obvious problems, which of course, as we all know, is becoming a trend in Hollywood where you're like, how do you not see these in the script or the test screening, etc., etc.? How did these make it to the final cut? But anyway, speaking of making it to the final cut, problem number one is that too many lame jokes made it into the final cut, like jokes that were clearly improvised on set, and they should have kept improvising because they didn't get good enough ones in the spitballing that they did do. Number two, the cinematography has a weird 90s sheen to it, which is inferior to the like the grainy realism of the original Ghostbusters, and because that's on everyone's mind, this looks even weirder. Like, it worked for movies like, let's say, Miss Congeniality, right? But not for Ghostbusters. I mean, that kind of 90s sheen robs the movie of the epic grandeur that it should have, because it's freaking Ghostbusters. Number three, the ghosts, while cool to look at, they all look the same. And also, they look kind of theme parky. In the original Ghostbusters, again, and hey, that movie is on everyone's mind, so the comparisons are totally fair. This movie can't exist on its own. But those ghosts seem very authentic, and they're all different kinds of ghosts. But here, again, it's a theme park. There's a theme park quality to the film in that regard. And then problem number four is that the movie really needs a lot more star power, like significantly more star power. Again and again, you're like, that actor's cool, but why would you choose them? Because they just make this seem more and more like TV, right? Like, there were countless opportunities to have cameos, and just, if Sony had spent like an extra $20 million, they could have had a cast more along the lines of Spy. Like, this movie desperately needed the star power of like Jason Statham and Jude Law. And even to some degree, Rose Byrne, who feels more cinematic than many of the actors chosen here. We'll talk about my MVPs a little bit later in this review and in depth in my spoiler review. But I have to say, overall, I had a good time watching it, and I actually plan to pay to see it again because it's a fun ride, and I want to be part of the opening weekend experience. I want to see how everyone else reacts to the movie because it's become so culturally significant, it's so controversial, and I do think that it's an overall pleasant surprise because it's not horrible and there are nice elements to it. So I am a little worried that some people might ruin the movie-going experience for others this weekend, so be on the lookout for haters in the theater. And I particularly feel bad for anyone bringing kids to see this movie because I would hate to see their experience marred by that, but it's going to definitely be an experience. And speaking of experiences, let me tell you about a little something that happened at the New York press screening because I think it's relevant to reviewing the movie as a whole. So the press screening in New York was at AMC Lincoln Square on the IMAX screen, and they're like, we're showing it to you in 3D, and we were all very excited. It was very hard to get in, huge lines, because of course this is the one of the big movies of the summer because of that controversy. So I get my seat and everyone's all excited and the movie starts, and it's not in 3D. And unfortunately, the Microsoft Windows bar is running across the bottom of the iMac screen. So you just feel like you're watching a giant desktop screen. And so everyone's like, whatever. So after 15 to 20 minutes of this, the reps from Sony come in and they say, this isn't the way we want you to see the movie. We're going to, stop the movie and restart it from the beginning. And the whole audience groaned. We were all like, oh, please don't make us watch the first 15 to 20 minutes again. We're already into the film. But then they said, free popcorn and soda for everyone. And everyone instantly got into a great mood and ran out. And, there was a lot of chaos there as well. But you know what? And I questioned whether or not Sony should have done that because, not everybody got free food because there wasn't enough time to give it to everyone. So if someone gives us a really harsh review from New York, they might have not gotten their free popcorn and soda. But I was like, overall, Sony was right to do that because this is a movie that needs the 3D and it needs the popcorn and soda. This is a big on-screen, all the bells and whistles, all the snacks you can get experience because, it needs that. But I have to say, in addition to that, I like the movie because of the message that it ended up having. I said it has a lot of heart, and this message pertains to heroes. So I think we always like to imagine that we would be like Sarah Connor, right? Or like Furiosa or Ripley, right? I'm talking about female heroes. But, guys, you have your equivalents. But I think that for most of us in real life, men and women, we would be heroes like these women are here. And that's really cool to see in a movie, right? And that puts across the message that if you apply yourself, if you work hard, if you go after your goals, like actually pursue them, and you put yourself out there, if you take the risk, then you can be the hero. You can accomplish your goals. You can do something. Maybe it's catching ghosts. Maybe it's just whatever your dream, your particular dream might be. And I think that's a wonderful message. I think that's a wonderful message for men and women. And I do wish that this film had a mixed cast, that it had men and women as Ghostbusters, so that it didn't have to seem like it was for one or the other. The first one didn't, and I understand the flipping, to mirror that for this redo, but I think if they really truly wanted to move forward, they should have had men and women Ghostbusters. MVPs, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, and Chris Hemsworth, who is amazing here. I have never seen a movie so perfectly capture what it's like to talk to a hot, dumb, confident guy. It was, any woman who watches this movie will be like, oh my God, I can't believe you perfectly captured that. We'll discuss more in the spoiler review, but thank you for joining me for this. I would actually recommend you go and see Ghostbusters in 3D with a lot of snacks and you see it opening weekend because that's going to be part of the fun. Be part of that experience. Have your own Ghostbusters story. And I do think that you will enjoy it. And particularly kids. I think kids are going to have a great time. Because as I said, it's actually scary in some parts. And very funny in some parts as well. And you'll just have to sit through the not so good parts. All right, that's my review. Again, stay tuned for the spoiler review. And you can check out some other episodes right now.